Yeah, there you go. So you can have both.
I go on my TikTok live. All right, what's going on, everybody? I need my phone too. Your phone's right there. Just check to see if you're on TikTok live. And then bring my phone from the kitchen. All right, I'm here with Toby. Come here, honey. Come here, honey girl. Come here. Toby, se fue Toby. You just go on my TikTok live to see if I'm on.
Quiet.
Yeah, can you check, babe? Check. I got Toby in the building. Where my Tobes? Where my Toby heads? You doing good? You on TikTok? You on TikTok live? Oh, yeah, because here, see, he's vertical. See, now you see him, but now you don't see him, right? Yeah, because I'm live on TikTok. It's okay. I just want to make sure that I'm vertical here. All right, guys, how are you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me fine? Can you please put the volume up? Just make sure you hear me. All right. Hey guys, Eric Estevez here, Eric the Lender. It's been a minute since I've been on this platform, but I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I was getting some steam live on TikTok last year as I was being consistent. I helped several families purchase a property that found me on this TikTok live and asked questions. But I got a little discouraged. I'm not gonna lie when Oracle took over the U.S. operations of TikTok and the algorithm will change, right? So just like anything else, you have to kind of start all over again, be consistent, and I wasn't consistent. I will come on live and I wouldn't see the amount of people in my live. But regardless, guys, I need you to do me a favor. Double tap that screen. Anybody that's on there, show me some love. If you know of anybody that wants to purchase a property now or in the near future, go ahead and share my profile. I build my business by educating clients. And for those of you guys who DM me, follow me, DM me. Uh, I will send you a free copy of my digital book that I have out on Amazon. Right. I would like to continue to help people get educated so they can take one step closer to that path of homeownership journey. So send me a DM, right? Comment. I won't be able to see the comments. I have a moderator looking at these questions. Actually, let me see. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I can see it. Let me go ahead. Let me just check to see if I'm actually able to go live. Hmm. I doubt it. But let me see. Yeah, I can't see. I can't see myself live. Yeah. So cool. Cool. So hey, can you double tap that screen? Double tap that screen. Let me know how many people are in. If anybody, it's only you. Hey, so guys, right now we are in. I get a question all the time. Right, is now a good time to purchase a property? And it really depends on you. The most important thing is to get educated, get your questions answered, right? Let me go ahead and guide you in the right direction. I will say this: I posted a video the other day about there's a cost of waiting to purchase a property. If you're holding your breath for rates to come down, right? Good luck. You're going to be holding your breath for a very long time, right? The Fed just announced that they're going to be very hawkish in trying to get inflation down, and there's a strong percentage, there's a strong chance that rates will actually go up at least one time this year, and many believe that we might see two rate increases by the end of the year. And the reason why that is because inflation continues to be rigid, right? They're stubborn. We have to try to get that down. But if you're waiting to time the market to wait for rates to come down, the situation is going to be tough because all the while you're waiting, house prices keeps on going up. Now, why is that? Why is it we have rates where they're at right now at 6.5% for the average 30-year mortgage? Why do prices continue to go up? Well, it depends on where you're at. Real estate is hyper local. However, right, the National Association of Realtors and NBS for highway, like they're talking about, anywhere between 3 to 5% increase in average across the country. That's just because there's just not enough inventory, right? Prices just really are determined by the basic law of economics, supply versus demand, right? So all the while you're waiting for quote unquote rates to drop, these houses are increasing year over year. So even if the rate drops next year, guess what? Your mortgage payment ain't gonna change because the house is more expensive. In addition to that, if you are sitting on the sidelines and rates drop, now a lot more people are going to try to get into that game, right? They're in that field with you, right? Not enough inventory, more people buying, driving prices of homes further up. So buying may not be right for you today, but if you are ready, there might be a cost of waiting. And the only way for you to know if you're ready is to talk to a mortgage advisor like myself, right? Let's talk about your finances. What's your income? What's your credit score? What's the down payment that you need? Are there any programs like grants? We have financing options for down payment. You can get sellers concession to cover closing costs. So start the conversation early. Do not wait. The better prepared you are, the easier it is going to be when you're out in the marketplace. Right? A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't think I'm ready." Okay, well, let's have a call Eric, have a conversation. You may be more ready than you think you are. And even if you're not ready, at least you have a clear path to home ownership. Do you have to report more on your income taxes next year because you're self-employed? Do you have to work on your credit? Because when I do a soft credit pull, your credit isn't where it needs to be, but I have a computer algorithm to help you with your credit score. So that way you can go ahead and increase your credit score, get the best terms available, and you might qualify for more programs like down payment assistance. A conversation doesn't hurt. A soft credit pull doesn't hurt. What you don't want to do is wait until the last minute and then you see a house that you love and you want to scramble in the end and then you don't qualify or you need to do some things because you didn't have the conversation early. The better prepared you are, the more chances you are in actually competing in the marketplace. Get educated, talk to somebody. And this is what I want to do. This is the reason why I'm here, guys, is because I've built my business through education. I just published a book a few weeks ago. And for those of you guys, for those of you who are listening to this, please DM me, follow me, subscribe, comment, right? And let me know you want a copy of the book. You could just type in book or DM me book. I will send you a copy a link to download my copy. This morning I sent it out to my database and I sent over 100 copies of my book this morning before 9 a.m. So I have 100 new people that have now my copy as of this morning, so they can read and get educated at your own time. But you don't have to wait. Call me, DM me. Let's talk about your specific scenario, right? So I wanted to talk about, like I always do, right? And if you guys have questions, pop it in the chat, right? And I have a moderator that will ask me the question so I can go ahead and answer it right here. This is for you. But what I want to do is just let you know what it is that you need to get started. How do you get pre-approved, right? Well, the pre-approval starts with knowing what your purchasing power is, knowing what programs you can qualify for, knowing what your desired monthly mortgage payment is. We have to do the math. You may qualify for $1 million home, but you may not want to pay that $1 million mortgage, right? So we have to discuss that. What is in your budget? We look at three things when we are pre-approving you. We're looking at income, we're looking at credit, we're looking at assets to figure out what your purchasing power is, what are your rates and terms, what programs you qualify for, right? So let's talk about income. I have conversations all day. Listen, my job, if I can talk to 100 people a day, I will. I want to figure out, right, in a few short minutes, what I think the bank will qualify you for. Now, there's an additional layer, additional step where we have to pre-approve you so we can verify the income. What's going on, honey bunny? So we can verify the income, right, and the credit. But when I speak to people, I simply say, hey, congratulations, right? You're taking the first step, which is really getting educated. And the fact that you took on a call, one-on-one consultation, right, means that you are willing to do the work and put one foot in front of the other. Okay. So I always ask, great, what kind of house do you want to buy? Single family, multifamily. Where are you buying? That's important, right? Because part of your mortgage payment that we're going to qualify you on includes insurances and taxes, and that depends from where you're at, what part of the country you're looking at, what county, what city you're looking in, right? That depends. Are you buying a single family house? Are you buying a multifamily house? Do you want to buy a condo or co-op? That's important because we already have to start figuring out the numbers in our head, right? And what kind of financing. If you're buying a co-op, they're probably not going to accept FHA financing. If you're buying a conventional and it's not FHA approved in a condo, we might have to do what's called a FHA spot approval, right? Is a condo FHA approved or not? What is the strategy? Okay. If you got to go conventional because you are you have a work visa, and now the administration changed it where you cannot buy with an FHA loan if you have a work visa. You have to now buy conventional. Well, conventional programs are not insured by the government, right? So now, right, your credit score requirement is going to be a little higher. Your debt to income ratio is going to has to be a little lower to minimize that risk because that loan is not insured, right? So these are the questions that we start asking so we can start formulating the right strategy for you as a home buyer, right? So what kind of property? Multifamily, you're going to be approved for more. Why? Because now you have a rental income that you can use a portion of it as additional income. So we look at all these things. Okay, so where are you buying? What kind of property are you going to buy? Hey, who's going to be on this mortgage? Is it going to be just you? Is it going to be you and your partner? Is it going to be you, your partner, and your kids? Your mom who's retired, who's going to be moving in with you? Right? That's important. How many people are going to be in this loan so I know how many incomes we can use? Guys, the math is simple. The higher the income you have, the more of a loan you can get, right? We use something called debt to income, how much income there is on a monthly basis, and your mortgage payment can be more than a certain percentage of that, depending upon what program you are qualified for, right? Cool. So what is the income? Let's say you're going to be buying this property with a partner of yours and you each make $60,000 a year. So now we have $120,000 in gross monthly income. We divide that $120,000 by 12 and your gross monthly income is $10,000 a month. I like to use this example because it's simple math. For an FHA loan, depending on your credit, depending on your debts, your mortgage payment may be 46.99% of that $10,000 in gross monthly income, which means you may be able to afford close to a $4,700 monthly payment. Where you are in the country really dictates, right, or affects how much that is, right? If it's in New Jersey, which has one of the higher property taxes in the country, that's a $550,000 property with the minimum down payment, a little bit, or maybe even below that, because we're going to qualify you based on the mortgage payment. If it's somewhere else where the taxes are much lower, you might be able to afford a higher price home. We have to look at what that monthly mortgage payment is. But guess what, guys? You may be able to afford a $4,700 payment, but you might say, Eric, I don't think I'm ready to pay that. I'm going to be capped out at $3,500. Okay, well, you're going to have to buy a $400,000 home instead of a $550,000 home, right? So these are the things that we have to discuss. What is your income going to allow you to purchase? And what is your monthly desired payment so we can come up with the right budget for you? Income. How much do you earn? W-2 is the most straightforward. Are you working full-time, part-time? If you have part-time, commission, bonuses, overtime, that's variable income. You have to have that for 2 years so we can average it out. If you just picked up an extra job just because you want to qualify for a home, you're not going to be able to use that job unless you've been doing that for 2 years consistently. Now you can always pick up an extra job to help pay for the expenses. I get it, right? If that's something that you choose to do, but that income is not going to help you qualify, right? Do you get other kinds of income instead of your job? Do you get disability, right? Do you get, you know, child support, alimony? Are you self-employed? How do you fill out your income taxes? Do you file taxes by yourself, or do you file taxes personally in your Schedule C for your business? Do you also file it in your tax returns? A lot of people have a set amount of gross monthly income, right? A gross yearly income, but then they have all these write-offs, which is great as a first as a business owner, because you have all these write-offs that can be tax-free, right? These deductions, which is great from a tax perspective, liability perspective. But now when you're looking to purchase with an FHA or conventional loan, it may impact your affordability. Okay, that's income. That's what we look at. We ask these questions. And in a few short minutes, I can kind of determine what I think you qualify for. Now, I have to verify all that, obviously, by looking at documents, income taxes, Schedule C's, do you own property, Schedule E's, right? Do you get child support? I need that decree, right? The child support statement. We have to look at all these things. Then we have to do credit. We have to check credit. I ask you, hey, where's your credit score at? And it may not be accurate, but when I pull your credit, because you have to realize when a bank is going to let you borrow money, right? We When a bank is going to let you borrow money, we have to pull 3 credit bureaus, and we call it the FICO scoring model. And that scoring model is a little bit more stringent than if you were going to apply for a car, for example, because you're getting a $400,000 asset versus a $40,000 asset, right? The bank is going to let you borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars of a payment with minimum down payment, of a loan with minimum down payment, rather, right? So at least you should know where you're at with your credit, right? And a lot of times people think that they need perfect credit to buy a house. That's not true. You can buy a property with a 580 credit score with 3.5% down.
What states do you work?
Right. So thank you for the question. What states do I work in? So I work in up and down the East Coast mainly. I'm based in New Jersey, so New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania. Then I go down to Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida, Texas, Tennessee. But the cool thing is, right, even if you're not in those states, and I can send you my information, the cool thing is that CMG Home Loans is the 3rd largest retail lender in the country. They just bought a bank in Wisconsin. We're going to be federally chartered. So soon I'll be able to do your loan in all 50 states, Puerto Rico and Guam. But if you're looking to get pre-approved today and you are in California, for example, I am not licensed in California, but because CMG Home Loans is in all 50 states, I can refer you to a colleague of mine to help you. But we can always schedule a call, right? So I can kind of go over these numbers with you, but I won't be able to run credit, or I won't be able to discuss interest rates because I'm not licensed in those states. But I'm here to provide information. Make sense? So reach out to me even if you're not in those states. Again, I'm in New Jersey. I'm licensed in Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Carolinas, Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. Soon to be all 50 states. But if you're looking for somebody right now, I'll be able to help you if you are not in one of those states. All right. Hope that helped. Thank you for the question. If you want a copy, do me a favor, send me a DM. If you want a free copy of my ebook, you can go on my feed. I posted it the other day, From Renter to Wealth Builder. I talk about my path, my journey, and I use real life examples for people that I talk to on a daily basis. And I'm sure that you'll be able to resonate with these stories that I share in the book. So hit me up. I'd love to send you a free copy. Thank you for the question. Double tap that screen. Double tap that screen, guys. Share this live with somebody in your life that's looking to get pre-approved, that wants to learn more about buying a home. My job is to help you get more comfortable, right? Thanks again. So let's go back to what I was talking about, income. And we talked about credit. I have a couple of people right now that have a sub 580 credit score, but they're putting 10% or more on an FHA loan. You can do manual underwrites. So even if you don't have that credit score and you have the funds, you may be able to buy. But even if, let's say, you do not have the funds, it does not hurt to do a soft credit pull so I can run a computer algorithm, tell you what you can do to improve your credit. Listen, I am not a credit repair specialist. I understand credit extremely well, right? Extremely well. So what I would do is get your credit, your soft credit pulled. I run a computer algorithm. Typically, it has to do with credit utilization. It tells you, hey, if you pay down these debts, right, your credit score will improve by so much in the next 30 days. You have a path. I see credit reports. There's a lot of late payments and those kinds of things on there, right? Sometimes I recommend you working with a credit repair specialist so you can work on removing some of those things, depending on what your timeline is. It's always better to work with a coach, an advisor, to help you achieve that goal faster. The path of least resistance, right? Cool. So that's in credit. With certain credit scores, you can get certain programs. FHA 580 or higher, 3.5%. Right? You need a higher credit score, say typically 620 or higher for a conventional mortgage, unless you're going to put a really big down payment. Right? Are you going to go with a non-conventional mortgage, bank statement loan, DSCR loan, P&L loan? These are non-qualified mortgages, so now you need a bigger down payment. Right? Credit also impacts interest rate. If you Google today average mortgage interest rates, you probably see something in the 6.47 range, 6.5 range. Where if you have excellent credit, depending on the loan type, you might get a better rate than that average rate. If your credit rating is not great, you might get a rate higher than that average rate. If you have good credit and you get an FHA loan because it is insured, you might beat that credit as well, right? So it depends on a lot of different things, right? The loan type, the credit score, how much of a down payment. We have to look at the credit risk of the bank lending you money. Make sense? Cool. So we talked about income. We talked about credit. Let's talk about money, cash, moolah. How much money does it take to buy a house? I do bi-weekly webinars, and I actually broadcast them live here on TikTok too. But how much money do you need to buy a house? A lot of people think they need 20% down, right? That's not true. The most right now, last year, first time home buyers across the country, um, the NARB put these numbers out that the average down payment for first time home buyers was 10%. Average down payment across the country. So if it's a $300,000 house, right, you have to put $30,000 down. That was average down payment. But you can purchase a property with 3% down, 3.5% down if it's a single family. If it's a 3% down if it's a single family house conventional, you can buy a 1 to 4 family property with 3.5% down if it's FHA. If it's a $400,000 property, you need $14,000 as a down payment, right? So that's typical, 3 to 3.5% typically. Now, if you fall into certain programs that are government insured, like a VA loan, if you're a veteran, shouts out to you. Thank you for your service. You can buy with 0% down. If you're buying in a USDA zone, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they insure properties that are in these zones, which are in rural areas, right? They want to incentivize people, right, away from urban areas. If it's in the zone, if you go into USDA.gov and you pop in the address of the property and it's in a USDA approved zone, guess what? You can buy the house with 0% down. A lot of people don't know that. And a vast majority of the country is rural, guys. Last year, I took an RV and I traveled around the country for 30 days, going from city to city. And I visited, I obviously my destination was the big cities, but in between there's a lot of space, right? So the majority of the country still consider, right, not the majority of the people, but the majority of the space in this country is still considered rural. You might find a good deal, right? And buy with 0% down in the USDA zone if you're willing to drive a little further to your job. But guess what, guys? If you work from home, and many of us do, or if you have hybrid, right? More and more people are willing to drive a little further from their job if you have to drive 2 days a week instead of 5 days a week to your job. Those are some of the things that we got to do now to really improve the quality of our life, right? USDA 0% down. Now, there's programs out there to help you if money is an issue. Let's talk about a few. I posted, if you follow me on YouTube, a few weeks ago, I posted a video in English and in Spanish about grant programs across the country and where you can find these grant programs. Is a website. Top of my head, I remember, I forget the website for the country, but if you go and go into this my video, I spell it out there. But every state is different. I'll let you know the states that I'm licensed in because that's what I do, where I do business. In New Jersey, for example, we have NJHMFA down payment assistance grant. There's different products, whether they're conventional or FHA, but you can get between $10,000 to $15,000 in grant in government assistance, depending on the county that you're in. Now you have to qualify. There's income requirements. There's credit requirements. But you can get $10,000 to $15,000 as a down payment assistance. And if you're a first generation buyer, right? If you're the first person in your generation, if your parents haven't owned before, guess what, guys? You may be able to get an additional $7,000. You can get up to $22,000 in the state of New Jersey as a grant. That's pretty cool. And in many other places, you can get more or less, but at least it's help, right? In New York, you get the Sunny May program, where it can give you up to $30,000 in assistance because the closing costs in New York, probably one of the most expensive in the country, right? Because buying a house is not only the down payment required, it's also the closing costs, and people have to talk about that. This is a complicated transaction with a lot of different people involved in this transaction. In many places, you're going to use an attorney, and I know many of the states don't use attorneys. New York, New Jersey are attorney states typically, right? Even though North Jersey and South Jersey feel like two different countries, right? Because South Jersey, they don't really use attorneys, but attorneys are cost. There's bank fees. There's title fees, title insurance, lender's insurance. You have to get a homeowner's insurance. You got to get an inspection and appraisal. You have to have escrows, surveys. You add that up, and you're going to be paying anywhere between 2 to 4% of the property price, right? Here in New Jersey, you're going to spend $15,000 to $17,000 on a minimum on closing costs. So if you're buying a $500,000 house and you're going to put 3.5% down, which is $17,500, and you need another $15,000 to $17,000, you're gonna need $34,000 to buy this house. If you have it, phenomenal, because you have wiggle room to negotiate with the seller. But if you don't have it, what is the right strategy for us to get you that home? If you save money, fantastic. You have the down payment, but hey, we can maybe ask the seller for a seller's assistance. You can get 6% of the purchase price in an FHA loan and a concession. You can get 3% as a seller's concession if it's a conventional loan. Can you get a grant? Do you qualify for the grant? If you don't qualify for the grant, guess what? I have another product. I have 100% FHA financing. If it's a $600,000 property you're buying, there's $21,000 that you can finance. Now, guys, I will say this, right? Your payment is going to be higher. The rates are going to be a little higher for these programs. You're paying a second mortgage for these programs, but you can buy a house. Rates come down, you refinance later. Now, you be the beneficiary of that appreciation. That $600,000 house, if it appreciates at 5% a year, 5% of $600,000 is $30,000 in 4 years, is $120,000. Did you get that? That's fast, right? I'm gonna repeat it slow. 5% of $600,000 appreciation is $30,000. In 2 years, you're getting $60,000 and more, right? In 4 years, $120,000. In 4 years, you're gonna have $120,000 in equity in a house. Now let's keep it real. Equity is a word until you use it, until you either tap into it to cash out, until you sell the property. But let me tell you, if you have $120,000 of equity, that's part of your net worth. In my book, Renter to Wealth Builder, I spell out that the average homeowner is 40 times wealthier than the average renter. Let's just use that math, right? That same $600,000 property, in 4 years, you're going to earn $120,000 in equity, right? More than that, because the balance is going to come down. Although be it, it's little in the first few years because of the amortization schedule is interest heavy, right? The first 15 years of the loan. However, you're gaining equity in appreciation and in principal reduction, right? You also have tax benefits, right? What are the tax benefits? Well, you can actually write off mortgage interest, taxes, up to $40,000 with this new big beautiful bill in properties, um, repairs, depreciation. Now you'll be able to do mortgage insurance as well. So now you're going to save more money in paying the IRS. So it's much more than $120,000 a year. Maybe I'm more like closer to 150 grand in savings. How long does it take you to save 150 grand? Right? How many of you right now, if you wanted to, in 4 years, can save 150 grand? And if you can, God bless. You're in the 1%. But the cost of living continues to rise. Right? Look at where we're at with inflation and with the gas of the price of gas. Right? Even though the price of a barrel was $56 before the conflict overseas, and then it shot up to $112, which obviously impacted a lot of things and impacted inflation. It was going the wrong way. Now I think we're sitting at about $76 a barrel, right? Um, but it's very volatile. So what I'm saying is that the cost of living is high. Buying a house, although you may be able to be, although you may be paying more on a monthly basis, you're gonna be it's not spending, you're investing it. So you're gonna save 150 grand in equity and tax savings in 4 years on a $600,000 property, right? Well, if you're paying $2,000 a month in rent times 12, that's $24,000, right? In 4 years, you're gonna spend close to 100 grand. You're gonna be $100,000 poorer spending instead of investing your mortgage payment and being $150,000 richer. It's a big swing from being $100,000 poor to $150,000 richer. Big swing, and that there is a key difference in the renter to homeowner. It may not be right for you now. I get it. I was the president of certain associations, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. We advocate for home ownership. We educate people to get into a house. But even though we educate, it may not be right for you. My job is to advise you, not to convince you. So you can decide what's best for you and your family. How can we prepare you? Right? Super important. I don't want you to be house poor. And in my pre-approval conversations, I say that, hey, all right, you can afford a $500,000 house. This is what your payment is going to be. Where do you want your payment to be? All right, well, you gotta buy a $400,000 house. All right, well, you can't find a $400,000 house in your neighborhood. You're gonna have to look elsewhere. It's okay. You have to make sacrifices. It's okay, but know the numbers, or stay, keep on renting until you're ready. Right? In the end, it's about having the right information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. It's about education, and this is what I'm back here on TikTok and on YouTube doing, is really educating people. And again, for those of you guys who are tuning in, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, DM me, comment. I'll be able to look at it after, and I'll be able to send you a free copy of my digital book, From Renter to Wealth Builder, coming out in Spanish sometime soon. Cool. So income, credit, assets, those are the things that we look for. We verify all those things. We look at debt to income ratio. We look at your credit, your liabilities. There's things I posted a video about this the other day. Hey, it may not show up on your credit, but if you've used Affirm or Klarna or Afterpay and you have more than 10 months to pay your refrigerator that you just financed, right? And you're paying $200 a month, guess what? I have to count that $200 a month as a liability, even though it doesn't show up on your credit because you have that liability. Make sense? So that's why we look at bank statements, right? Because things don't show up on credit report. Are you paying child support? And it doesn't show up in your pay stub, right? That shows up in your credit. Hey, what are these Zelle payments that you do every month to this person of $500? What is this? Right? We have to look at what your expenses are. We also have to look at, hey, are you going ahead and are you putting are you depositing cash? Do you have cash under the mattress? Which is something that I want to talk about right now for a few minutes. You have to have this money in an account. It has to be seasoned for 60 days. You can't go get a credit. You can't get a loan on a credit card to put that as a down payment. You can't use debt to get into another debt. You got to have that money saved or get one of these programs, right? So the issue is that you have to have this money in an account. You can't have it under the mattress. If you're Haitian and you use a Zusu, or you're Dominican and you use La Sociedad, right? Those things can't go because it has to be gifted, right? Where is this money coming from? We have to document it because of anti-money laundering laws post 9/11. We look at these things. So that's why we have to look at income, credit, assets. Where is the money coming from? We have to really assess that to see, make sure that it's not a problem, or at least we get you ready. A lot of people tell me, Eric, I have money, but it's under it's in a shoebox under my mattress or under my bed. Well, we got to figure that out, right? That money has to be deposited. It has to be seasoned. Can you get a gift from a family member so you don't have to worry about using that cash? These are all things that we have to talk about to get you ready to buy your house, right? Cool. So, guys, for those of you guys who are here, double tap that screen if I did add value to you. If you know of anybody looking to purchase a property now and in the future, share my live. Super important that more people see this because you might be able to help one person. I live stream from time to time. On Wednesday, I'm going to go live stream. Is going to be a business. We're going to talk about AEO, GEO, and SEO. But I interview professionals and actually try to add value. I have a young lady right now that we're doing a 100% financing on her $600,000 house, and the house came back, guys. The house was valued at 660. She's buying it for 600,000. She's $60,000 richer already. She hasn't even bought the house yet, right? But she found me on a live stream. I was in a restaurant interviewing a realtor. She found me on live, and she's about to close on her house in the next couple of weeks, right? And this is what I want. This is what I love doing. This I closed a family earlier this year that found me on TikTok, right? Came on here, asked questions, scheduled a consultation with me. We pre-approved them, and now they have their house. So now that house is give them tax benefits, and they're the beneficiary of that appreciation. It is possible, but it starts here. What's up, buddy? It is possible, but it starts here, right? Cool. Guys, if there's any more questions, I'm going to log off. Please reach out to me. I'm here to help. Have a good one.